How's it going, everybody? My name's John from Podbean and Podcasting Smarter. On today's episode, I'm going to be speaking with Andrew from Gator. We're going to be telling you how you can create the most professional podcasting studio and some of the tools that you'll need to make it happen regardless of your podcasting situation. Whether you're remote, whether you're in your own studio, we're going to make sure that you know how you can get the most professional studio possible. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. All right, beautiful. Thank you so much, Andrew, for making the time to chat with us today. How's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you doing?
It's good. It's good. You are over there in that Florida area. I'm over here in Jersey, both of the East Coast, but feeling a little bit of different weather now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, big difference in weather over here.
So let's talk a little bit. Before we get into our interview here, I want to give you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about Gator, because we're going to be talking a lot about Gator Frameworks today, but Gator has a lot of different brands and different solutions under its umbrella.
Yeah, it really does. I know probably for the purposes of our interview today, we're going to be talking about Gator Frameworks, but Gator as a whole, as a company, was founded in 2000 by Crystal Morris and her father. So it's a family-owned business, and it started with a case line, Gator Cases, which you may be familiar with. A lot of people in podcasting do cross over to that musician side. And a lot of the people in the music industry, they've heard about Gator Cases. And so we started as Gator Cases and really started to expand into different lines. And so now today, and here we are in 2021, we're a total of 6 different brands. And, in particular in the music segment, we have Gator Frameworks, which is the podcasting studio side, Gator Cases, protecting all of those instruments, and then Levy's Leathers that we recently acquired in 2018, guitar straps, and I can keep going from there. So we house a bunch of different solutions, and we love every bit of it. Have a very big, passionate group here.
Now, when we talk about Gator having so many branches under this umbrella, Gator Frameworks, as you said, offers an entire fleet of products that are specific to podcasters. What have been some of the flagship products that Gator has seen benefit podcasters most?
Yeah, definitely. I can answer that one right off the bat, and that would be our mic booms. We were surprised. We weren't surprised, but when we first launched our mic boom line, our 1000, our 2000, our 3000, the response was enormous. And eventually, actually, Joe Rogan picked up our mic boom 3000, and then it got huge from there. You couldn't ask for anyone better in the podcasting world. If you're a fan of Joe Rogan, most people know who he is, in the podcasting space. And the 3000 really picked up from there. So the mic booms were huge. Our desktop mic booms, our desktop solutions, mic stands, guitar seat stand combos, anything that's going to support you on the stage. Where anything that this stuff really is, it's built to perform. And we have a whole line now, from utility carts to acoustic foam paneling, any kind of solution that you can think of in that creative space. Gator Frameworks is taking care of it.
I was about to say, too, I was about to bring up Joe Rogan, because when you think of the quintessential podcasting studio, not necessarily the remote side, you think of that boom arm. When you think of a professional podcaster studio, someone that's in a studio, maybe is plugged into an interface or something like that, or like you said, a computer desktop, the first thing that you think of is that boom arm coming over the side of
That's
the
right.
desk and just looking like just super professional, usually hooked up with something like an SM7B or something like that. But
Yeah,
that's
especially.
like the quintessential of video podcasters now. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely a big land for us. But that's just one of our SKUs. That's just one product that we have out of an entire series of solutions. So definitely, I think that people that are into the podcasting world are incredibly excited about the brand.
So let's actually talk a little bit about the microphones too for a second, because
Sure.
when it comes to podcasting, microphones are probably the first thing that a lot of us think of in terms of what is the quintessential gear for podcasting. Obviously, you need that piece of technology that you're going to speak into, that you're going to then plug in to record. And Gator offers many different kinds of microphone stands. But the two that seem most popular with podcasters are the desktop mic stands, and as we've been discussing, the boom mic stands here. But why would a podcaster select to use one over the other? And what benefits do you find that a boom mic stand might have over a desktop mic stand, or vice versa?
Yeah, that's a great question. Especially with the wide variety, it's kind of hard to land on a site, and no matter what site you go on and see, all right, well, what is the right product for me? And what I would say to that is, it all depends on the situation, and especially for somebody that is trying to have that cleaner, professional look, but also avoid the knocking around, avoid a lot of those vibration and those tones that you may get from putting your arm down on the table, those kinds of things when recording. I would say the boom arm is your go-to. Your boom arms, not only, especially for that 3000 that we were talking about before, it has a built-in XLR channel, and that's going to declutter your surface. It's going to allow you, especially if you're in the serious podcasting area, you need to have pen and paper in front of you. You need to have your tools right in front of you. That boom arm allows you kind of that free space and allows you a little versatility. Now, the desktop mic stand, a lot of people have actually used the desktop mic stands that you would, mic a kick drum up with when you're tracking. They can use that for the same purpose. However, that really allows you to be more versatile. So you're not going to take a gigantic mic boom and shove it in your briefcase when you're going and recording with friends. But the desktop mic stand, that allows you to be more versatile. Let's say you have a recording session, you want to go into a studio. If you don't have it at home, you can kind of bring that gear along with you a lot easier. The desktop mic stand, simply put, it's versatile. And the mic boom is I would say cleaner, and is going to get you more kind of that clean recording. Not to say that you can't get the really clean recording with that desktop mic stand, but you could naturally hit it or knock it over with your hand. But again, when you're traveling, you don't want to. I wouldn't think that you'd try to bring a huge boom arm with you. You'd want to bring that small, compact, versatile tool.
Of course, yeah. And when you talk about the different kind of life cycles of a podcaster, you may have somebody that, as you said, is somebody who's more of a studio podcaster where their situation is usually pretty consistent. So something like the desktop arm could be a good solution, but an even better solution to have even more control over the sound that you're picking up, and the sound that could be picked up by hitting it or whatnot, like you said, could be the boom arm stand. But if you are
Right.
somebody that is a traveling podcaster, maybe you're doing things at a conference, maybe you're doing lots of different interviews, and you really don't have the same space that you're recording in time to time. Something like that desktop or that desktop mic stand can really make the difference between you holding the microphone or having this shuffling sound in your hands, or
Yep.
between you having, like you said, a really professional sound wherever you are, really.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So now when we talk about Gator, Gator gives podcasters the ability to create an ergonomic modern recording studio space. And we kind of touched on that a little bit with the 3000 where it has that channel for the XLR cable. But what's one piece of studio gear that podcasters, in your opinion, often overlook?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think one thing that, and this would be kind of crossing over into the smaller accessories. I'd say I have two here. So one would be the acoustic isolation foam. I think a lot of people kind of overlook their sound environment. You can get yourself a nice mic boom. You can get yourself, the perfect platform, a laptop stand. But it's going to be different once you press that, once you get recording. What does that sound actually, what does it sound like? How clear are those vocals? And that comes down to the mic you're using, but it also comes down to the environment. And if you're able to isolate your sound, you're going to get a better recording. So that's one. The other is, I think a lot of people take for granted what they do with their headphones. a lot of people they'll take their headphones off and they'll throw them on the desk, or they'll put them in a bag, or they'll just leave them on the ground, or they'll get knocked over. And one of the most, I would say, our product team, I give them credit, is one of the most creative solutions that I've seen is our hanger desk clamp that literally fits on the side and clamps to any desk, and you can just place your headphones conveniently on this clamp. And it's cost effective, it's small, it doesn't get in the way, and you'd be so surprised how much it really organizes your studio.
Yeah, and even more importantly than just the organization too, you really touched on the point of making sure that you're taking care of your gear that you're using for your podcast. Again,
Yeah,
some
exactly.
a lot of headphones that are out in the market aren't inexpensive. You're
Right.
looking at anywhere from 70 upwards to have a pretty good decent pair of headphones. And if you're just putting those on the desk, there's a myriad of things that could happen to where they could fall off, or things can really just unfortunately break your headphones. Something like that is such a small piece of equipment that you can attach right to your desk. Actually, if I'm being transparent, I have one on my desk now too. And I've been using that now for a couple of years. And it really did come down to that. I was just putting my headphones on my chair for years when I was recording
Yeah.
music. And it looks sloppy. If you're in a professional studio, it looks sloppy. But even then, God forbid, you're doing a recording later at night, early in the morning, and you sit on your headphones. Now you're out however many hundreds of bucks potentially on a
Exactly.
pair of headphones.
And that's actually, that's happened to me. RIP to my Audio Technicas, my first pair. And they were sitting by my keyboard, which I could have easily used this solution right near my keyboard. And they were in their bag, and I accidentally stepped on them because I had them on the ground and they weren't in an organized, convenient location. And just like that, my favorite pair of headphones are gone. And it's it's such a simple, inexpensive solution, but those are kind of that's what I love about Gator Frameworks. Is by far it's our most innovative brand, because we really take the time to put ourselves in these situations, and we're all musicians here, and we all love this space, whether it's podcasting or studio. um, you know the organization will stay the same, and really taking care of your gear and having these simple solutions, it makes you look more professional. It organizes and cleans up your look, your sound, and your ability to just do what you love.
Now, I'd like you to walk us through the ideal recording studio setup and tell us why the products you've chosen for this setup would be necessary for podcasters. And you said that you are all musicians there at Gator, which is great. I
Yeah.
love hearing that, because it even means that you have a deeper sensitivity towards the needs of the professional and the
Yeah,
creative
of course.
person. There's so many different things out there, but yeah, if you could create a studio setup for us, and we'll talk through that a little bit about some of the different parts for us.
Yeah, sure. And I guess the first thing here is one, I'd probably I'll probably bounce it to you as well for
Sure.
this. Is what of our products do you feel you need for your own situation? And I think that's the important piece here, is that Gator Frameworks is a place that any situation that you encounter, we have a solution for in the podcasting and creative space. So let's say you have, a tight, small table that you have to work within, right? We have those smaller, more ergonomic, efficient mic stands that can work in those spaces. Let's say you have a dark room that you're working in. We have ring lights. Anything around those lines. Let's say you're having a problem with your recording, and again, like we mentioned, the acoustic isolation foam, you throw those up on the wall. So it really just, what I would say is, it depends on the environment and the space that you're in. And I would say probably the most effective things for you to have, one, because most people are referring to their information, and a lot of times they're not doing it on pen and paper, is a laptop stand. And we offer a full line of laptop stands, whether it's ones that you can clamp to the desk, or put right on the desk. You elevate that laptop, and you have your information out of the way. Of course, a mic boom, and the mic boom really just allows you that good recording and flexibility. and cable management. And then on top of that, I'd probably say a shock mount. Shock mount absolutely helps for that recording. I love that you have a shock mount right there, and you have your pop filter, right? Because you care about the way that you come across and that you sound. So again, it all depends on the situation, but those would be probably my main. Again, it's for me, it's about the sound, and then also taking care of your gear. So whether it's that hanger desk clamp that I mentioned, or from Gator Cases, our line of cases solution, it's taking those headphones and putting them in a headphone case. Simple solutions like that, I think, are the most important for your space. But I'd probably ask you, out of our products that you've seen, what is it that you would want in your location in which you're at right now in your studio?
Yeah, absolutely. Like first and foremost, I would always start with the Boom Stand 3000 that you guys talked about, the Deluxe Frameworks mic boom stand, because again, a lot of what I'm going to go to is both ergonomic from a space perspective, but also one of the ways, or all of these are going to be ways that you can get a much cleaner sound, kind of from the technical side. Anything that can really raise your products off of the floor or up to a higher level is going to help remove a lot of that buzz and a lot of that potential hum. And it's going to help you take care of the gear. The fact that you said that you also have the computer risers is so important too. And not only does it give you more the ability to see the content that you're working on in your desk, on your computer, but again, anything that's sitting on your desk gives you the ability to knock against or gives you the ability to have hum for. You have some pieces of electronics which have built-in hum cancellation or hum reduction. Not every piece of gear has that, and there's so many different computers out there. For you to simply take your computer and lift it off of the desk, that's going to reduce a lot. And even while we're talking here, I'm like I said, I'm grateful to have the boom stand that I have. But if I was connected to the desk with it, any words that I say reverberate the desk just slightly. And that's going to be a little bit that you have to then in post production hope that you can
Exactly.
pull out.
Right.
So
Right.
that's another thing. One thing I'll always say that I think is really cool product that you guys have are the clamp-on studio monitor stands. And we didn't get a chance to talk about those yet, but
Yeah.
first and foremost, they look really cool.
Yep.
They are again, they're able to going back to the MO that I keep talking about, they're raising the content off of the desk. But even more than that, they have such a good, in my opinion, resistance for shock to where you don't have to worry about them moving. You don't have to worry about anything really affecting
Right.
them in the same exact way. So those would be three pieces of gear I would always go to for sure that I would want in my studio.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's and also crossing back over, to recording, and that's when you are, whether you're mixing or mastering, and whether most people do it with headphones now, but still, hearing that out loud, and if you play back what you've recorded and you listen to it, and you may say to yourself, well, why doesn't my sound as good as this guy's, or someone that's a professional? It's because they have professional gear and they have professional tool. Obviously, um, mixing and leveling is incredibly important, and you have to have a skill in order to do that. But at the end of the day, good gear creates good sound. And just like what you said, elevating your speakers, or elevating your laptop, or even elevating your microphone, the higher it goes and the more solid the bass, the more solid the sound. And these little creative solutions and not to say that elevating something is unique, but at the same time, elevating something and being able to clamp it, to your desk to save the space, while also lining, let's say that clampable speaker stand that we have, and lining that with some EVA plush foam in order to reduce the reverberation, and reduce the vibration from any kind of loud sound or bumps or anything like that. That just again, those little tiny features is what we really focus on to improve your sound.
And also for podcasters who are just starting out, I think this is really important. I think once you've been podcasting for a while, just like if you've been recording yourself as a musician for a while, you start to think, okay, what's the next thing that I could look into? What's the next thing? What's the next piece of gear that I can add to my repertoire to make me
Sure.
sound even more professional? But I think this conversation is really important, especially for starting out podcasters before you even say, you know what, I'm going to hit that record button. Because, like you said, once you record and once you have this stuff that's tangible in your DAW, whether it's GarageBand, Logic, whatever the case may be, these programs are powerful, but you're going to be editing the sound that you've picked up. So that's really important to create that great audio the first time you hit record. Because something that people uh,
Oh, yeah.
often overlook is that for video, which we'll talk about the cameras here in a second, but a lot of a podcasting audience is more forgiving on a video side because the gear is so expensive, but they're less forgiving with audio because a lot of the gear can come in a place where it becomes a little bit more affordable for a podcasting audience. So you can create a cost effective but
Yeah,
professional
exactly.
studio and have a great product for the audio side.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on.
Now, you also talked about the camera equipment here too. And this is always something that I like because once podcasters start, getting to that next phase of wanting to take their product to the next level, or maybe you have a podcaster who says, you know what, right off the bat, I'm going to do audio and video.
Sure.
That's great. You can't always just set up a camera and hope that the video you're going to be recording
Yeah.
is what you expect. So, can you take us a little bit through some of these ring lights here? We have a couple of different ones that are under the Gator umbrella here.
Yeah, yeah, I can take you actually a couple. I'll take you to the ring light. And speaking of, the recording and camera, another kind of creative solution that works pretty well. The ring lights itself are actually a new product for us. And we kind of wanted to get into this space because we wanted to provide that extra solution for somebody that's looking to get that. Obviously, most people that are looking to get into podcasting, not all of them are looking to record video, but a good bit are, and you have to have the right lighting when you're doing that. You'd be surprised, here I am in the dark office, but it's important when you're on camera and when you're in front of fans or whatever you're following, that you have the right lighting. And so we came up with this solution. There's a desktop version, and there's also a tripod version, that you can extend and get at the right height for you. And then we also sell those as a set. So again, we encourage, using the right light for when you are on camera or when you're streaming. It's important. And then also, you can take, let's say you have a round based desktop mic stand, and we just released a mic camera mount, which simply just screws in and attaches to the thread of the mic stand, and you can attach your camera just onto your regular round base mic stand that you were using for recording. Or if you have an extra one lying around, right, it's using, instead of worrying about, you know, putting your camera at the right angle, or putting it on a milk carton for you to, record yourself, you have a solution there for you. And the same thing, sometimes just regular lights don't work. You need something that's going to be more powerful, and it really gives you a professional look.
And especially for those who may not have the resource of a studio with natural light.
Sure.
A lot of times podcasters are really trying to find a space in their home that they can just turn into their podcasting studio. And that could be a small space, maybe in the den. That could be a room that you do have natural light in, but maybe the natural light doesn't hit the same way that you want to. There's a great solution for you to be able to control that light. And I remember years ago when I started doing music professionally, I wanted to do YouTube videos and things like that. I went into B&H, which is a video
Yeah,
and
yeah,
photo store here. You're familiar, yeah.
yeah, of
So
course.
I remember going in there and asking them for all this expensive gear. Oh, this is what I would need. And they go, literally, the biggest thing I can offer you is most cameras are going to give you a high quality in general. So whatever camera you get, you're going to get different qualities, of course. But the biggest thing I can say is if you can control your lighting, that's going to make the camera able to pick up your visibility and be able to pick up the quality that much better.
That's right.
So for me, I can't express how important lighting can be. And with a solution like this, you can really create that environment wherever you are, regardless of your space.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. The more light that you have, the more potential quality you can have.
Now, to conclude this interview here, I want to give you the opportunity to promote the brand of Gator in general. I know we're talking about it for podcasters, but where can we find more information? Where can we purchase Gator products? And
Yeah.
is there any specific product that on the outside of this podcast you would like to say, hey, this is the flagship product? If you take nothing else away from this interview, which there's a lot of great things, ladies and gentlemen, please take a lot away from here. But what would be the flagship thing that you say, you know what? This is what you should look into as a podcaster?
I think to start, Gator is Gator is really just your one-stop shop for any kind of creative solution that you need. So if you're traveling, we have a case for you. If you want to light your studio setting, we have some ring lights. If you want to record, we have mic stands, and whether that be on stage or in the studio, we have a solution for every single person, and that's across all of our brands. So I think that really, when you think about Gator, you should think about music solutions, and that's what I would say about the company and the brand, and also to know that the stuff that we make is made by musicians for musicians. So we make, why especially I love working here is because I love everything we make. I want everything that we make. So and that's important. You have passionate people that are trying to make products for passionate people. It's that simple, um, and I think that when it comes to creativity, this really is a creativity hub for all of your products. If there's one product I would say to look out for, it would be, I would probably have to say it's probably our furniture line that's coming soon. I'd say just as like a sneak preview, we're looking to get into furniture. And so that would be, let's say that you really just want a space to do it in. We can, not only can we give you all the gear to do it, but we're going to give you the exact space to house all of it. And I think that's something to look forward to for people. So they should be seeing that fairly soon here.
That's really cool. So
Yeah.
not only can you look for the musician, podcaster recording solutions and studio solutions, but now there's going to be a lot of cool furniture that you can look into to
That's
even
right.
get more out of that space. That's so cool. And it shows that you're
Yeah.
really thinking the 360 of the life cycle
Yeah,
of a musician
exactly.
or recording artist. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. More and more people are getting into it, and we want to provide those great solutions. So you can expect some really, really cool stuff to come down the line. And this is just the beginning of the products that we're making. So, any the more people join this space, the more issues can be discovered, and the more issues that are discovered, the more we're going to be there.
That's awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for taking the
Yeah,
time.
thank
I know
you.
I look forward to the furniture, and thank you for taking the time to really set up what podcasters need to be successful. Not just the content that they put out, but the gear that they're using to create the great content that all podcasters are putting out. So, thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, John.